I've been working on a grant application for 2 weeks and I deserve to do something fun, so let's make something sexy. My goal is to sculpt the sexiest monster. The following video contains scenes of monster horniness. Viewer discretion is advised. There are a lot of haters out there that think that monsters aren't sexy, but if Digimon taught me anything, it's that friendship is the most important thing and that monsters can get it. It's easy to give a monster big bobas and call it sexy, but I want to give some love to masculine sexy. And who better represents all the things I just said than Daddy Leomon? Come on, lions are sexy. So I'm going to start with a lion body. I know this is a female lion, but that's going to make it easier to sculpt on top of. But more importantly, I chose this one because it had a really sassy pose. Its silhouette could be sexier though, so I'm going to widen the hips and sculpt some new sexier arms. It's kind of hard to find a reference for big muscular arms doing this pose, so I'm just going to have to use my own arms as a reference. I'll probably have to scale back the muscles a bit just because we don't want this guy looking too yoked. So to hulk out those arms, I bulked out the armature wire with some tinfoil. Now if you're working on a project like this and that female lion face starts to make you feel a certain way, to sculpt the arms, I used milliput. I made sure that all the muscles were really well defined because you need your monster to have big, strong, muscular arms to hold you. Because you want a monster to make you feel safe. But feeling too safe is not sexy. Scorpion tail. I saved this scorpion tail from another project, but it wasn't quite long enough. So to make it a bit longer, I stuck some wire through it, and then I threaded that wire with some Lego pieces. These kind of made a segmented pattern that mimicked the rest of the scorpion tail, which I thought was really smart and will save me some time on sculpting later. Now I am a professional, and I'm not going to make a cheap joke here. Simply stick the stinger in the designated butt hole. Good, now we're gonna bulk out that booty. You know this beast has got some cheeks. I might be an expert at bodies, but I'm gonna need a little help on the face. So let's throw it over to Smart Niche for a little expert design work. We need to design the most beautiful, most masculine monster face. So let's start with the hair. I'm thinking a lion-like mane to show his wild side, but I prefer a clean-shaven man, so let's get rid of the beard and clean up the sides a bit. Perfect. Next we need a strong chin. Good. How about some big, beautiful blue eyes to peer into your soul? Perfect. Of course we need a powerful nose full of character. That's it. And how about a gorgeous smile? Maybe one that's a little bit mischievous. Oh my god. He's beautiful. Now that we've created the perfect specimen to use as a reference, it's time to start sculpting. I start by bulking out the face with a little bit of milliput. This will create kind of a skull that we can sculpt on top of with green stuff later. Sculpting a face from reference can be very difficult. The important thing is to look at it from all angles and know that you can always fix stuff later, but you gotta trust the process. Things are looking okay, but I'm gonna add some hair so I can see what it's gonna look like. Trust the process. As I add the hair, I make sure to add details at every step. Even if I know I'm going to add stuff on top of it, it's good to have the layers underneath look good in case they show through later. Here's an actually useful tip. If you're painting or drawing or sculpting something from a very specific reference and it's not quite looking right, you can take a picture of your piece and overlay it on top of your reference. If you align your piece with the reference, you'll be able to flip back and forth, directly comparing the two and seeing what is ever so slightly off. I did that for this piece and I saw that my cheek was a little bit too big and that my chin was a little bit too short. So I changed those things on my model and it really helped. Subtle changes like that are the key to making something look like something else. With that, oh god, what have I done? We all know dragons are sexy. But can a part dragon, part human be sexy? Yeah. Let's give this monster some wings. In my very first Goblins video, I converted a wyvern, and I realized the model I got off Facebook Marketplace came with 2 left wings. To fix this problem, I cut out this middle segment, flipped it around, glued it in, and then added some green stuff details, and it totally worked. It's really hard to tell that these were both the same wing. Metal bits can sometimes be hard to use because they're so heavy they might fall off before the glue gets a chance to dry. A trick I found is that if you use hot glue, the glue will set super fast and it will hold the bits in place. Then you can go in with super glue and baking soda and green stuff and really strengthen that bond. I did that for the wings and it worked great. Now this creature's got a rockin' bod, a gorgeous face, but if it doesn't have hands that could gently caress your cheek, is it even sexy? No. So I'm gonna give it unsettlingly human hands. I sacrificed more bits from my WizKid troll for this, and no. No, kill it with fire. Wait. Hear me out. Okay. So you know I'm all about that bass. So let's give it some terrain to stand on. Surely putting this thing on rocks will atone for all the crimes I've committed. To make the terrain, I hot glued some bark onto a wooden base, and then I blended those areas together with milliput. Now obviously this thing is gorgeous, but nothing quite says come hither like spikes. Finally, it was time to finish the tail. I used milliput for this and made sure to mimic the shapes of the rest of the tail. Then I added claws onto the back feet. Then I added some pillowy pecs to rest your head on. And with that, the sculpt is done. If you're having doubts about the bangability of this beast, you probably just can't see the details right. So let's paint it. Since it's winter, I was going to prime him in my shed, but... So instead, I primed outside as quickly as I could. I made sure to heat the rattle can in warm water before I went out. This will help prevent it from freezing. It was not the coldest it's been, but still, not prime conditions for priming. Whenever I do a sculpt bash like this, there are always awkward gaps and bad transitions. So to fix these, I use undiluted gesso for canvases. It's thicker than brush on primer, so it helps hide my mistakes. Then it was time to start painting. I've gained some confidence in painting miniatures recently. I won Crafting for Hope's miniature category, which was a huge confidence boost, but also I feel like I'm starting to hone in on my technique. I think the trick for me was to use great Warhammer painters as a reference, but use my own techniques. Anytime I try to follow a tutorial or copy the methods of a great mini painter, I end up messing it up and just doing it my own way. It took me a while to realize that I could emulate a style while using methods that work for me. You don't have to paint like everyone else to get the same results as everyone else. I like to throw a lot of color around, I like to experiment, I like to find my palette as I go, and then I can refine the details later and I can add washes later. This might waste a little time still, but it's a method that works for me. For this guy, I just played around until the colors worked together, and then I added those finishing details, and... Yep. I made that. I sure made that. After I finish a project, I almost always say this is my favorite thing I've ever made, but this is horrifying. I am really proud of how close I got it to my likeness, but my god, this thing is truly a monstrosity. I don't think I want this. Do you want it? I think I might give this horrible abomination away to one of my patrons. So if you're a little freak who wants a chance to win this mini, head on over to my Patreon. Let me know if you think I was successful in making the sexiest monster of all time. Let me know what you want to see me make next. I'll see you really soon. Bye!